Hi everyone, I'm Alejandra and in this video I'm going to teach you how to create in Xamarin Forms a chart that updates itself every time that the data source has some change. This example will be with a line chart, but we can apply it to all types of charts. Before we start, we make sure that we have all the SfChart-Syncfusion components installed. If you don't have it, you can click on the previous video where Jose taught you how to install SfChart-Syncfusion and their license community for Xamarin. We start creating a new project in Xamarin Forms. If we want to make graphics with SfChart of SfChart-Syncfusion, it's needed to add the nuget to our project. In our solution, we open the Manage Nuget package. We click in Browse and we look for SfChart-Syncfusion Xamarin SfChart and select the first one. We have to make sure that it is going to be installed in all of our projects and then we click Install. We will follow the installation procedure as in any other nuget. Once the installation is finished, in the Install tab, we will check if our nuget appears. Once you have done this, there is something I want to tell you. The SfChart-Syncfusion documentation tells us that in addition to downloading the nuget, additional configuration is required in the case of iOS and Windows platform. In the case of Android, it only requires installation of the nuget. We begin by defining our model. We will create the class called work in which we will implement the iNotify property change interface. But to understand what we are doing, it's necessary to remember the concepts of data binding in Xamarin. Although in the case of one-way binding, what we do is connect the model with the view model and the view model with the view. This operation is only done once. And if we talk about two-way binding as well as one-way binding, the changes in the view model affect the view. But when we implement the iNotify property change interface, all the changes in the view will update the view model, and this will update the model too. All this will be translated into a continuous update. In short words, if the iNotify property change interface is not implemented, the shown values in the view will only be updated once, even if they change during the course of the program. Our class called work will have two attributes, day and hours, and the implementation of the iNotify property change interface for each one. In our view model, we are going to define an observable collection that contains objects of type work, and let's initialize it in our constructor. In the field data method, we will insert values into our collection too. In our view, we start to create our chart. We add a stack layout and then let's import the namespace. By the way, this namespace is in the documentation. SfChart helps us in the visual representation of the data through different charts, and in its series property, it specifies which type of graph will be used. To show a line chart, we will create a line series instance with the following properties. Item source. We use this property to establish the data source of our line chart. Remember that data is our observable collection. We also need to initialize the x-binding path and y-binding path properties with the respective values of our model. And to update the data of our chart in a dynamic way, we have to set the listen property change as true. Well, let's continue to customize our chart. In SfChart, primary axis represents the x-axis, and secondary axis represents the y-axis. It is common that the y-axis is defined as a numeric type. And for this example, our x-axis will be of category type. And finally, color model is a property of SfChart that is used to define the colors in our charts. It's necessary to initialize the palette property with the word custom, and in the custom brushes property we will get the colors that we are going to use. And before checking how it's going our chart, we need to connect our view with our view model. First, by creating an object of workVM class and then using binding context. Done this, let's play our emulator. Wait a moment, and that's it. Our line chart appears, which is static now. By implementing the iNotify property change interface and the listen property change property at the same time, our line chart will be updated automatically if the data source changes. We are going to add a button with the button clicked event. And in this function, what we are going to do is call the change data method. In this method, through the object, we will access our observable collection and we will change its values by random numbers between 2 and 8. We save the project and run the emulator once again. As we can see, when we click on the bottom, our chart changes automatically. This is because its values are changing in our change data function. Now, let's go a little more far and let our chart changes values constantly. All you have to do is add a loop here in the call to the function, and we will set a delay of 1 second. We run the emulator one more time. As we can see, by pressing the Change Data button, our chart will change its values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So, our chart will be automatically updated each time your data changes. Well, that's all for this video. If this video helps you, please give thumbs up. That would make me very happy. See you soon!